And maybe see if the other two, if they mute theirs and yours is the only one. Let's see if that still echoes.
All right. Is everyone muted? Jack, can you mute yours? Okay, is there an echo now? Maybe that's our maybe that's our issue. So when someone else starts talking, maybe we can just mute our mic and that might help us. So thanks for the prayer. I think that'll help us.
Yeah.
To start off right off the bat, has everybody signed up on the group agenda for who leads each week?
Not yet.
Okay, that's
so.
one of the
Yeah,
that's one of the things we're supposed to address and make sure that we do is I went to the beginning lesson 1 and there's the sign up sheet that we signed up on. There is a second worksheet or tab where we sign up per week. I'm currently signed up for this lesson and then I think lesson 7. So you guys want to fill in and maybe if we can decide who wants to do next week just so that we're prepared for next week for sure. Any volunteers?
Where did you say this is?
So if you go into, so I went to lesson 1. Let's see. I have to re-sign into BYU. Just a second. So I went into the lesson 1. You know where you initially signed up for the group where you selected Tuesdays from the specific time, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m.? On that page sheet, there's another workbook. There's another tab to it. And the second tab is where we sign up to be group leads. So I'm double checking here. If you want, I can try and send out the email with the link to it. Oh, it's even on the main page. So if you click on the B321, at the top it has week 3 announcement. There's the group, Google Group sign up doc.
I also found it on lesson 2, not lesson 1. So if that helps.
Yeah, the instructor posted it for under group or under the lesson 3 instructions. And so currently mine shows a blue tab for the initial sign up and then the group leader sign up is a pink tab. And if you guys want, I'm in there, I can put your names in if you know what weeks you want to do it.
Okay, yeah, I'm on that page. I guess echo's really annoying. Let's see.
Well, or if you guys...
Oh, it's the same booklet. I see. Sorry, yeah. Okay, now I see what's going on.
I'd be fine to do the next one. I guess, Meredy, if you just want to take over and just put them in there,
I can do that.
We could all just check to see if that works with everyone, because with everybody's speaker on, this echoes bad.
I can do the third one.
I can go ahead. All right, let's see. Lesson 4. Who wants to do that one? That's next week.
I can do that.
And who is this?
Austin.
Austin? Okay, sorry.
I just put myself down.
I saw Jack. Okay. Clint, do you want to do lesson 6?
You put myself for 5.
Oh, Jack is in there for 5 right now.
Oh, really?
No big deal.
Do you want to switch them?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and let me get. Well, you can do it, or I can get back to it with the here.
You're the anonymous gopher.
Okay, there we go. And then maybe we can put Thor in for lesson 7, and then if he has concerns and can't do it, we can switch him with a different day. Anyone want lesson 8? By the way, that's on Halloween day.
I could do it.
Okay, who's that?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, Jack. Let me put it right now.
Okay.
And I'll do 10.
And who's that? Who's doing 10?
Clint, I can write it in.
I'll do the one after Clint. Austin. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody want to do 3, or you guys want me to do 3? I'll put myself down for the last one. Somebody has to do 3.
We could put Thor again.
Okay, we got that
Someone
sheet
still
filled out.
coming from the, or no?
Yes, he said he'd be a little bit late. He forgot he had a doctor's appointment this morning, so we'll make sure we include him. Okay, so moving on to the next item. We're supposed to discuss the Mary Griffin at Derby Foods agenda. So have any of you looked at the items that we're supposed to discuss, or do you want me to just lead on them? I'll just lead. Oh, who did we lose?
We lost Jack.
Did he say he was jumping back in, or did I miss something?
I think he'll probably jump back in.
Oh,
Okay.
are you guys still hearing an echo? I think it might have been Jack's thing that was making an echo.
I'm not hearing an echo anymore.
It's because his volume was probably on his computer next to his mic. That's why I put headphones in. So I think it like kept picking up.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Well, that makes things nice. Okay.
Sorry, I rocked it for a sec. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so based on the case study between Mary and her situation in, come here again.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now.
I just had it, but I cleared it when I
Okay,
had
so
accidents. There we go. So it was Mary Griffin and Simon York. So Simon York is our gentleman that's coming across a little bit hard. So the first thing that we're supposed to discuss is, so what? How did the meeting go between York and Griffin? But I didn't see, there's not really a meeting that's occurred here. Let's go back to the other thing. Maybe I'm missing something on this step. So we already discussed the quick synopsis of the case prior to coming on, that Mary was informed by another supervisor of Simon York's attitude and how his harshness is affecting the people around him, specifically those that he verbally puts down in front of other employees. And so this meeting has been called, which the assistant said, and Simon's under the impression he's going into this meeting with the ideas of discussing the co-branding opportunities where intention. So with that, what is our main issue that's going on here? Or can we identify what the company's culture is?
Well, obviously, the company's culture is opposite of what Simon's doing, because there's a problem. If he was doing something there wasn't a problem, there wouldn't be any meeting set up or anything. So obviously, the culture is they want a safe environment, almost like any other company, but they want to fix this so the culture doesn't get any hostile work environment like that. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably something they want fixed right away, just because they acted on it pretty quickly. At least it was reported to her quickly. Griffin kind of delayed in responding, but now she set that meeting. So why do you think it's important that this be addressed right now?
So before we started the live chat, I can't remember who it was who did that quote, but it just seems like Simon's really I don't know, kind of dropping the ball and putting all the faults on his team members. And I guess for Griffin, she better do something about it quick, because if she doesn't, then I don't know. To me, trying to putting myself in that situation, I'd feel like if somebody was doing something that was ticking everybody off and the manager doesn't do anything about it, I'd get really upset and just feel like maybe that's just the way the company works, and that's not the environment I'd want to be in. And next thing you know, you have people leaving and it hurt the company.
Yeah. Well, and in the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, they talk a lot about team building, and they give a scenario on a member that or on a mock company, and they have a couple managers that come across that way, where they're harsh and they don't communicate well, and the morale of the company, it affects everybody. It doesn't just affect their department. It does affect the morale of the entire company.
Yeah.
And so by addressing it right away, the opportunity to quickly mend those issues and prevent trust issues that could ultimately lose employees. And not even just lose employees, but lose credibility. I mean, if I met this gentleman, Simon York, out in public, and he was that harsh and brash in public about his employees, I would look upon the company differently as a whole.
Yeah. Like we talked about, he was so mad to have a typo in a presentation and be embarrassing to the X Games committee. Like I said, how embarrassing would that be for the company to have him act like that in front of them?
Oh yeah. And can you imagine? I mean, if I were part of X Games and I saw that, I don't think I'd want to do business.
Yeah. Because they have their own brand to protect.
Yes. I agree.
They don't. Yeah.
I think also the other problem is it would decrease, as the trust book talked about, it would decrease productivity and increase cost. So that would be another major concern that production team and X Games would be concerned about, of the cost going up and the production going significantly down when he's.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the classic quote by President Monson, never let a problem to be solved become more important than the person to be loved. And obviously we need to have that in all of our lives. But in business, it's like, honestly, that's very wise in the terms of financial, like how long does it take to train someone? How many resources does it take to train someone? And if you become a problem, if you asked, or if you focus on the problem more than them, the problem might be fixed, but they're going to leave, and then you have to train someone, and you have to, all those resources are wasted just because a problem was be solved is more important than the person to be loved, a person to be taken care of, so it's very cost effective to follow President Monson, I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree. So what specific behaviors do you think not just raise the concern, but need to be addressed?
Remember my first business management class, we talked about how you need to praise in public and fix things in private. So that's the first thing, is whatever he wants to correct needs to be done not like he did it.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, I was just going to say maybe some form of, maybe like a sit down of just kind of going over responsibility. Manager would definitely kind of remind him that, as a manager, you got to take responsibility for certain things, and you always have to make sure that what it is you're doing, everybody else is excited about it and on board, and you don't want to just put anybody in anything they're not comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think might be a little off tangent, but do you think Simon York realizes how harsh he's coming across?
I bet that's one of the problems. The main problem is he probably doesn't even realize it. He might, but.
Yeah, I mean, I've known people who definitely that they come across that way on purpose because they feel that they get more results that way. However, I've also come across people that truly don't understand how harsh they come across, or, so I think part of it is that he's oblivious. Yeah, possibly oblivious.
Yeah.
So the culture at Derby Foods, I'm just going to go, there's 5 of them that they say to address. I'm just going to list them, and then we can just do an open discussion on all of them instead of one at a time. It says, what do you believe is the culture at Derby Foods? And what do you think are the guiding principles? What are the beliefs that support the culture? And what are corporate politics and how can it affect the culture? And last of all, what would you recommend to maintain, change, or build the existing culture? So I know I listed several of them there, but since they are all culture-based, I thought maybe we can just do an open discussion addressing all of them.
I mean, obviously, like Simon, they're talking about how he's very good at what he does. I think talked about that, and how, that is true. He's very good at what he does, but at the same time, it's, not to keep putting scripture references out there, but like, when Nephi had to kill Laban, it was like, better that he perish than a whole company go down in culture, so it's like, hey, sometimes you gotta be, hey, you can't fit in this culture, you have a great degree, great work experience, but we can't have it, and you're out. So, or fix it, so to preserve the culture. So, what do you guys think?
Well, one of the things where it talks about the guiding principles of the company, what do I think they are? I think ultimately, I mean, maybe they have one person that's being rough here, but how the other employees worked with each other, and even in how they addressed the manager. I think ultimately they want to be in a trusting environment, and they want to feel safe, and be able to do, I can't coordinate my thoughts here quite right. They want to be able to have open communication without feeling like they're not trusted, or that they're going to be penalized for how they communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think that corporate politics are affecting the culture, or can affect the culture?
These are hard questions. I'm not really sure where to
So how
go
can the
from.
culprit, what was it, policies?
How are corporate politics, or what are the corporate politics, and how can it affect your culture?
Well, it's like politics could be like, oh, Simon's really good, really high ranking, whatever. And if someone he got mad at sees that he went into a meeting and all that and didn't get any punishment, so the politics of that whole, okay, we're gonna let it slide type of thing or whatever, if that was the case, then that would affect the culture of I want to be here. But at the same time, if a lower employee, whatever, sees that he was, rebuked and changed and had to, go through, the same process as everyone else, then that person's okay. No one's better. No one's above the law, you could say. And so,
Yeah, if Griffin doesn't talk to him effectively and he doesn't change, then the culture of the employees will just assume that he's still getting praised for the production he's doing.
Yeah, despite
and that the company just changed its views of people matter and like the product matters to whatever gets the product done and like beautiful. That's the only thing that matters. So it kind of switches from people to just production.
Yeah.
I like how you said that.
Just over one incident.
Isn't it amazing how just one incident can completely change people's perspective, though, of the corporate politics? So what would you recommend that they need to do to maintain or change or build upon their existing culture? Obviously, we discussed that she needs to talk to Simon. But what other changes might need to be done? Or should there be any other changes?
I think Simon needs to talk to his team. I also picked up the problem, what was his name? Of Shelbourne right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He's the director of production. I also didn't like the fact how he just stormed him and asked her to fix it. She basically said, "Do you have time?" and then went right into it. So I think there's kind of two parts where Griffin probably also needs to talk to Shelbourne so he doesn't feel like he could do this every time, just storm into the vice president's office and demand something be changed.
I agree. I think it says something about the leadership within the company. If there's two different leaders that have that same attitude where they can just, demand something of someone else or put them down, it says something about the leadership of the company needing to be addressed, and helping them identify what type of culture they want as a company and how they can create that atmosphere and still be productive.
Yeah, because he was pretty straightforward at the end. He said, you need to set him straight. I don't think. Yeah, I think he came in too hot.
Yeah, reading that paragraph, it said that, so they put on the production, on the thing, it says that it was the official cupcake of the Winter X game. And that's where he thought the X on the label was not prominent enough. So that's where York went down and just let Shelbourne have it.
Mm-hmm.
That could even go back to the Winter X Games and could possibly even hurt them there, I'd feel, as well. Nobody wants to go to the X Games and hear about a company just going over a small detail, just, wrecking themselves. I feel like if an X Games was to want to keep having them come back, I feel like they'd be a little skeptical, because next thing you know, you don't want to have any issues at the X Games,
Yeah. think it also shows that there's a break in communication too. If he didn't want the X to look that way, maybe it should have been communicated prior that they wanted something bigger. So there might be some gaps in their communication in the inner departments or between departments.
Yep.
So what is Mary's role in establishing the culture? She's the vice president. What's her role? What is she supposed to do?
I think she manages the 6 brand managers at the Derby Foods, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Simon's one of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel that she's supporting the culture? It says providing constant feedback and support, leveraging rewards and punishments. So we don't know about any rewards and punishments currently from this article, but we do know she set up a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I think she needs to do a better job in coaching. I think
Yeah, I agree.
I think she should ask Shelbourne more questions, had him calm down a little bit so she can understand his side. Then I hope she goes in with the intention of going into Simon, sort of in a coaching, understand his point of view, and work together.
She also. Okay, go ahead.
That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, she also needs to be careful. Like, it's almost sounds like an ambush, if you could say, with this meeting. So she needs to be careful of, even if she does correct the problem, she might leave because he's like, I was expecting, So you kind of have to be careful with that. That no one likes that. So
Yeah.
It said here, like towards, I think it's like the last paragraph before it says Simon York. It said that she, which I'm sure is Griffin, was just assuming that he was just trying to assert himself in his new role, sorry. And then she also admired York's passion and creativity. So I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, going off of what everyone's been saying, I just feel like she had no idea what was going on and was just trying to figure out everything with everyone there. And as a leader, you want to make sure you go in knowing what it is you're about to do. So that way it comes off as something, the leader's always supposed to sound like they know what they're doing. So you don't want to just go in and try to figure everything out with everyone right there.
And to be fair, I mean, as a leader, I think to be fair, she herself should have communicated with Simon that she wanted a meeting. And maybe been brief about what she wanted to talk about, not have an assistant set up that meeting that's real vague, because now Simon's going to come in with a completely different perspective, and he may feel like he's being attacked and that he's, he may feel like, I'm coming here to the table with all this information I'm really good at. And instead of seeing that positive, being, having that addressed. So I think she needs to make sure she could do this differently by having set that meeting herself and let him know what the intentions were or what to discuss. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree. It said that she had her assistant, Mary. I guess Mary just said that Griffin just wanted to touch base with York on the co-branding and promotional activities at the Winter X Games. So it wasn't, so it probably threw off Simon as well, just thinking it was, maybe something maybe good that he did. I don't know. And then, they go into this meeting and it just, everything just hits the fan kind of a feel.
Yeah, well, based upon, so it says that he's going to touch base on the co-branding, the promotional activities. He's using this as an opportunity to go over what he's done, where that's not really what the meeting is set for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Communication all around.
Yeah. So what's Simon's role in establishing and maintaining the culture? How is he affecting it and supporting it? Or how is he supporting it and how is he working against it? I guess that's better.
Sounds like they've had other problems with him feeling like he's the hot shot, according to the statement by Shelbourne. It says that he's just ordering people around. So I think it doesn't seem to me that he's offering, asking for feedback, or he's just not building trust to be able to get the right feedback he needs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are, you have to be coachable, and so, if you may have a lot of experience being a trade manager and everything, but a brand manager, but, he needs to, everyone needs to be coachable, so if he needs to, to help the culture, he needs to be able to accept some correction and go forward.
I agree.
So.
Let me see here. How would you suggest that Mary actually approach this discussion? So we know that she hasn't really done anything up to this point. If she sits back and realizes the whole picture, how would you approach the situation, or how do you think she should approach the situation? I think part of it is she really does need to give Simon a heads up in advance in person so that he's prepared.
Yeah.
And then I also think selecting your environment is critical when you are going to talk to somebody that's potentially sensitive. You don't want to come across, or I don't think she should have to come across as this authoritarian that is going to tell him exactly what to do and how to do it, and he has to obey this, this what she wants or else. But to come across as equals as far as being a team, that what he does affects her and the company, and so ultimately they have to work together as a team. And it's kind of what, I'm not sure which one of you said, but working as the coaching, taking it as a coaching opportunity to hear him. I think it's really important that she stops and listens to what he has to say and truly hear his story, because then he may be more susceptible to the suggestions that she makes for change.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Because if she was to just come off as, don't do this, don't do that, what are you doing, kind of a thing, he'll fire right back and it'll just be a mess. But if she, is totally open to hear his thought process on the whole thing, and, it'd make him feel a lot more, I guess, open to feel or to hear what she has to say as well, and then they can come to some level ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably just start by asking questions. Like, obviously he's in the new role, so I'd ask how he feels about how things are going in the new role, and ask him next, like, what do you think are some strengths that are going well, or what do you think are some problems? And just go from there, and hopefully he'll bring up the fact that he's not that great of a manager communication-wise, or I don't know.
So what do you think are the key items that she needs to cover in that meeting?
She needs to definitely cover the issue in the production office with the him, getting all upset about the X, she should definitely ask him about it.
She also needs to address how he, the second time during the meeting when he criticized an employee in front of everybody. I think it needs to be addressed that should be done in private. And that it doesn't have to be criticism, that it can come across as constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she could also maybe get down the road, just state that there are problems with the way he's communicating or coming across. I think he.
And by asking questions, I like what you said, Clint, like how asking questions, there might be underlying problem with them, with something like going on with someone else in the company or whatever. So by asking questions, you might get to the real problem. Maybe he feels like he's not being heard, or maybe whatever, right?
Right.
So she can uncover that and fix that, and then if you fix that, then the whole lashing out and all that will go away.
I like that. Okay, we only have a few more minutes left, so let me see.
I was going to say, where are you seeing those questions he's giving us?
Oh, there's a group discussion agenda. So up under the resources, on our resource tab, there's group discussion agendas. So there's one for each lesson.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, I was looking in lesson 3 and I was like, where the heck is this?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I mean, there's another one that he did in the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, gotcha.
That addresses stuff like York demands quality. Will quality go up or down? And how will work be faster, better, cheaper, or less stressful? But we already addressed that. And how will York's life change if he doesn't change? That's kind of a good one. I mean, if York continues working with this harsh attitude towards others, how's it going to affect him? He could potentially lose his job. He will lose trust.
He could be demoted.
Be demoted. Yeah, I mean,
you be transferred.
Yeah.
And I think also he'll lose the skills that he was put in that position to learn.
Yeah.
It's the most important one.
Well, yeah, I agree. All right, so let's do. So have you guys, I don't know if you've completed all of this lesson's reading, but what principles from this lesson's reading would you say apply to this case? We've talked about several times some of the coaching methods, and I apologize, I don't have a name with the voice yet. I'm still learning, but one of you mentioned about asking questions, and I think that's a huge thing that they've done in the coaching. Yeah.
I think addressing the problem as soon as possible is one of those on that big long list.
I think us building stronger relationships with managers is also something else that we could take from this. If you're really close, you could feel comfortable talking to each other about, what's going on. I feel like if you don't really talk as much, and if you just have like your assistant do it for you, that's just where you get a lot of confusion and issues and problems. So.
Okay, I agree. So, in summary, I'm supposed to do a summary of this. Let's see. So, in summary, we see that the culture of the company is going to be impacted based upon whether or not the attitudes of key team members are addressed. It's not just Simon York. We've also identified that it is Sheldon. Was that it? No.
Shelbourne.
Shelbourne. Also Shelbourne, in how he approached her. So they need to be able to address the culture, and maybe part of it is identifying what type of culture that they want, and then reiterating it to the management so that it can be that it can go across the board. It's not just one person trying to implement a culture. The other thing is to be able to take the key principles in coaching and asking questions, addressing problems, building stronger relationships with the management, all of those things that we've discussed, to actually coach Simon and any brand or any of the leaders, including Shelbourne, to get the results they want as far as a stronger company, not just financially, but as a team. Is there anything else I've missed that maybe we want to summarize and add into that?
Maybe just start to build a culture of, if you have a problem, kind of talk it out with the other person. Like Shelbourne could have talked to Simon York instead of going to the vice president and saving the vice president some time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in a company, if that culture is not there, it is sometimes difficult to start, and that could be a place where Mary could implement that, whether it's an off-site meeting or just some one-on-one time, or not one-on-one, but time with her head management so that they can start developing that culture. But I think that's kind of Mary's position, that if it's not already established within the company that they can openly communicate, that she needs to take a position where that is built and started. So, okay, I think we've addressed most everything. Does anyone have any questions or?
Yeah, so it says that the teacher wants us to comment on 2 other people's videos. So we're live right now, but I'm assuming when you end, is there like a link that we're supposed to upload to the discussion board showing our link?
Yes. So since I'm the link, and in the link I also include everyone that's present for it.
Okay.
And then and that's everybody on the discussion board. All the teams will do that. So you'll just go look at another team's conversation, what types of things they discussed, and comment on them. And then if ever we miss a week where we're not able to be present, we are to go in and watch our group's meeting, and then add our feedback to that. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I will post that within the next probably 20 minutes here. I just got to close it out and make sure I can do it right. And I would love if one of you might check to see if you can open the link. I went ahead and recorded it as a public because when I do the private one, for some reason nobody else is able to access it. So if somebody wouldn't mind just checking the link to verify that it does work for you, because it will automatically open on my computer. So
okay. Yeah, and
that'd be great.
we still have that group chat too on our text, so we could text each other and make sure it works.
Yeah.
My other question is, so yeah, we presented today. Are there other groups doing it as we speak as well, or is it just like spread out like what you're saying throughout the week?
Yeah, throughout the week.
It's throughout the week. So we just post by Saturday. Oh no, it actually says the beginning of next week. So I guess it's by 8 a.m. on Monday. I always just put in my notes Saturday because I don't do homework on Sunday. But yeah, so 8 a.m. next week, you'd want to reply to 2 of the other groups' posts.
Okay. So basically on Saturday, just start commenting on other people's discussions. Okay.
Is there
Okay.
also, I have a question, real quick question. Is there an outline for the case study write up that's due tonight?
A rubric? Yeah.
So we
There
just,
is a rubric.
but no
and
like outline.
no, and there's no, I could not find any specific direction on
How it's supposed to look.
how long it's supposed to be. I believe it's supposed to be an essay, a short essay. It says that basically you are hired as a consultant to give feedback. So you're presenting it to the company as feedback on how they should resolve the problem. So there's specific points that you need to address.
I swear it said 1,500 words.
There is somewhere that says 100 words?
1,600?
Unless it's in my other class. I mean, I have 2 case studies I have to do today. Yeah.
But did you say limit 1,600 or the minimum 1,600?
I thought it said
It might have been the maximum.
I think it was the max 1,500 words, but let me keep looking where I found that.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.
Okay.
That